Congratulations on your new 2021 Cirrus 820 and welcome to the nuCamp family. Before you get started on your new adventures, let's take a look at your truck camper and we'll review the details and the basic operations so you can enjoy your truck camper with confidence. Let's start right here at the rear of the camper. There's 110 plug right here on the end. Now, of course, these will operate when you're plugged into shore power. Down below is the Alde vent. The Alde system is what operates the furnace for the camper as well as the hot water. Let's take a look at the storage compartment. Now, this is a watertight compartment, so this handle can be a little stiff. And when you open this up, there is a light at the top. The light has two settings. One of them will turn the light on. The other setting will set it to motion sensor so that it will come on whenever you reach your hand in the compartment. The controls in here on this back wall right up here, you will see two sets of awning controls. This camper comes standard with a side awning, and there is an optional rear awning. Both are powered and every camper is pre-wired. The switch to turn it on, of course, is a safety, and then the next switch will extend it and retract it. Attached underneath the camper is the 7-way plug that you'll use to plug into the rear of your truck. Now, this is going to provide power for the camper while you're traveling down the road. At the end of the step is the compartment for the sewer hose. Now let's review how to operate the Rico Titan jacks. First thing you'll want to do is turn on the rocker switch just inside the door. Next, you'll raise and lower the jacks with the remote. There's yellow buttons in the center that will raise and lower all the jacks at the same time, or you can do the drivers and the passengers in the front and the rear one at a time. The remote is battery operated, so it's a good idea to replace that battery every year. If you lose power on the remote, you can use the cord to plug into the remote and then plug it in next to the switch. There's also a red remote supplied. Now, this one does not have a battery in it, but it's supplied for emergencies in case the black remote fails. You can plug this in here and plug it in next to the switch. If you lose battery power on the camper, you can operate the jack manually by removing the cap on the top and using a 3/8" driver. So be sure you have that available in your toolkit. The backup camera on the Cirrus 820 has a switch to activate it just inside the door. The monitor just plugs in at the dash. There is a suction cup to mount it wherever it's convenient for you, and it should pair automatically. If it doesn't, just check the instructions to repair it. The swing out handle doubles as a security measure. When the door is closed, you pull the lever down to swing it in. Fits right in the lock. Swivel this up and latch it. The driver's side has two compartments on the top for storage. Now, they both have lights in the top that will have the two settings, one to turn it on and the other one for a motion sensor. Down below is the Nautilus panel. The switch on the top right is the water pump switch, and there is another water pump switch on the inside. And below that, you'll see the red switch, and that turns on the light in the compartment. Moving to the center with all the levers, this is very confusing to people, but if you take a look at the pictures, it will tell you how to set the levers if you're dry camping, if you're using the city water fill, if you are filling the tank, or winterizing and sanitizing. Now, if you need more information on winterizing, be sure to check the owner's manual for all those details. Now, on the left of this, you will find two cables. One says satellite and one says cable. The cable connection is hooked up, and so if there's cable at the park you're staying at, you can connect it there. The satellite cable is not set up to operate, but if you'd like to move the cable wire up to the satellite, you could use a portable satellite and it would work great. Below the cable connection is the city water fill. The hose can run up underneath the camper through the hatch and connect to the city water fill right here. Remember to set the levers to match the city water right here in the center. You'll also want to be sure you use a water pressure regulator so you don't overpressurize the system. Now for dumping the tanks, you will connect underneath the wing here, and then the gray tank and the black tank pulls are right here in the bottom of this cabinet. In the center is the spray port, and below that, the levers for the low point drains. One last thing, on the right-hand side is the black tank flush. You can hook up the hose there when you're dumping your tanks to be sure they stay really clean. To drain the tanks, simply remove the cap and replace it with the sewer hose. The bayonet fittings are exactly alike. Now, once you have the sewer hose in place, you can pull the appropriate gray or black handle inside this compartment to drain the tanks. Now remember, if you're using the black tank flush, to leave these valves open. Otherwise, it can actually fill the system and come up through the toilet. To connect your 30 amp shore power cord, you'll see there's 3 prongs. One of them is kind of L-shaped, and you'll connect that up to the L-shaped one on the receptacle. Now once you've got it lined up, be sure to push it in snug and turn it to the right about 1/4 inch. For added security, you will want to thread on the collar. Just below is the outside gas port in case you want to hook up a grill or an outside gas appliance. Now there is a nozzle provided, and you want to be sure it's securely attached to the hose that's connected to your appliance. To start, you want to be sure that this lever is perpendicular so it stops the flow of gas. Remove the yellow cap and pull back on this collar, and then insert the nozzle, and the collar will pop back over to secure it. And all you do is turn that 1/4 turn to start the flow of gas. When you're ready to remove it, you want to turn this to stop the gas, pull back on the collar, and the nozzle will come out. Be sure that you replace this cap before you travel to keep out the road grime. The next compartment houses the 2 5-gallon propane tanks. Now on the back wall is the regulator, and you will see at the top the tank selection switch. It is showing red right underneath it because the tank on the left is empty. If it was full, that would show green, and once this tank comes down and empties out, it would automatically switch over to the tank on the right. The diamond plate compartment in the front will house 2 batteries installed by your dealer and a 1200 watt inverter that will provide 110 power from your batteries when you're dry camping. Now let's head inside. As you open the door, there's a fire extinguisher right here at the end, and the green button on the top is so that you can check the operation. If you press down on that green button and it springs back, the fire extinguisher is ready to go and working properly. If it doesn't spring back, simply replace the fire extinguisher. You'll also notice on the handle, green on the bottom to push down and open the door. But if you're inside and you want to lock the door, just push the knob up into the red zone. The last thing I want to point out on the door is the blackout shade. There is a blackout shade for the glass, and when you're traveling, you want all of the shades and screens to be in the compressed position. As you walk in, the light switches will control the light right above you for the first one, the outside porch light, and the awning light. Of course, this is the camera switch that I mentioned earlier that turns on the backup camera. In this first cabinet on the left is the glycol tank. Let me show you how to check the glycol levels. First, you'll remove this cover, and you'll see the glycol tank with a minimum and a maximum line. Be sure that level is in between those 2 lines. If it gets lower and you want to add glycol, remove the cap and you can pick up glycol at your local dealer. The faucet on the sink is a single handle, and you can adjust the temperature by rotating front and back and turn on the faucet by pulling it out. Next, let's look at the stove. To operate the stove, simply lift up the glass top and press down on the knob and turn it to light. That will allow gas to come from the burner. If you press the center of the sparker, it will spark and light the gas, And then you can adjust it from high to low depending on how high you need the flame and what you're cooking. When you're done, simply turn it to off and wait for the stove to cool before you close the glass top. To close it, simply lift it up and then forward. Above the stove, you have controls right here. Let's start with the Alde controls on the top. Press the left button to turn it on, and after it flows through the screens, you'll see the temperature inside the camper. This icon on the left tells you the furnace is working, and that plug on the right tells you that it's running on electric power. The controls are located under the menu, and the top one is going to be the furnace. It's set right now at 86 degrees, and of course you can adjust that by hitting the minus and the plus sign. The next level is going to be the hot water. Now right now, the hot water portion is off. For hot water, hit the plus sign and you can see the bar goes black about halfway. That tells you it's on normal mode. The water will get hot, but before it will, you're going to have to tell it whether you would like for it to run on electric or gas. The next line is electric. The bottom icon is gas. So if we tell it to run on electric, there's 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatts if you hit the plus sign again. You'll want to run on 1 kilowatt if you are plugged into the house and camping in the driveway. If you're at shore power and you've got 30 amps, you can put it on 2 kilowatts. If you want the water to get hot as quickly as possible, you can turn it on boost mode by hitting the plus again and having a full bar that's black. Now at that point, it will redirect and it will not be heating the cabin. It will simply be heating the water for 30 minutes until it drops back into normal mode and begins heating the cabin again. Now, if you select electric and gas, you can prioritize which one you would like it to use by going to the priority setting. Gas, electric, and of course there is a lot of other features included in this. Just by hitting the settings, you'll be able to see a lot of options. Refer to your manual, but now that you understand the basics, I hope that'll help you navigate the Alde system. Below the Alde controls is the touchscreen that's the monitor panel. Simply touch it and that will show you the levels in the tanks. One more touch will bring it to the battery. Now this is showing a full battery, but keep in mind that if you're plugged in to shore power, it's always going to show you a full battery. So if you want to get a true battery reading, unplug from shore power before you check. Below that, the water pump switch, the ceiling light, the sink light, and the accent lights. Down below, of course, the 12-volt plug-in, the USBs, and 110 power source with the GFI switch. I want to point out the cabinet knobs because when they are flush like this, that means they are locked into place. That's what you want it to look like when you travel. And to open the drawer, simply push in. It creates a handle to open the drawer. To latch it, push it in so that it's flush again. All your refrigerator controls are going to be at the very top. And there is a thumb latch to open and close it. When you come over here to the controls, the on-off is on the right. Once you press that, it will go to auto and automatically look for AC power. If there's no AC power, it will move to gas. If there's no gas power, it is going to move to battery power, and that's designated as DC. You can tell it what mode you'd like it to be on if you didn't want it in automatic by pushing the mode button. It will automatically move that bar between them. Now the temperature setting is right here on the left. And of course, if it's colder outside, you might want to lower that. If it's really hot outside, you might need to raise it to the highest temperature. One more thing, because this will automatically move to the battery mode, there is a battery switch that you'll need to turn on for it to connect to your battery right here on the left. So if you do not want it to work on battery, then don't turn the switch on and you're safe. Directly above me here is the power fan. Now there's another one closer to the door, but if you were to add the air conditioner to this unit, it would take the place of this fan. Let me show you how the controls work. To turn on the fan, first you want to unlock it right here and then open the top. Once you open the vent cover, you'll select whether you want it to pull air in or take air out of the cabin because this is a reversible fan. Once you've made that choice, you can come over here and select fan speed, 1, 2, or 3. Now, if you happen to change directions while that fan is going, it's very possibly going to blow a fuse right here. And if for any reason you blow a fuse, simply unscrew this cap, replace the fuse, and screw it right back on again. To turn off the fan, change the fan speed to 0, close the vent cover, and be sure to lock that cover before you travel. The Cirrus 820 has a 12-volt television. It's on a swing arm, so you can maneuver it to be seen from the bed or the dinette. Simply lift up the handle and pull the TV out to put it where you need it. Before you travel, be sure you latch it back into place so it's secure. At the front of the bed, you'll see 2 reading lights. If you press it once, you get a blue light. By holding this button down, the light will turn white, and then to turn it off, just simply push the button again. There is also 110 plug and the USBs and 12 volt right in the center of the headboard. Across from the television is the stereo, of course AM, FM, Bluetooth enabled with the USB and the HDMI connection. Now you've got some gear underneath the step. Let's start with the converter. Just push the top of the panel and it will flip open. There are the breakers here on this side for the 110 systems, and then the fuses here for all the 12 volt systems. They're both labeled on the side, and so if you're having an electrical issue, this is a great place to start. Now the converter also charges the battery when you're plugged into shore power or driving down the road. Next to the converter is the battery disconnect switch. Now you see the battery is upright in the picture, and that means your battery is connected. If you wanted to disconnect the battery, simply turn this switch a quarter turn. The battery is on its side, and that battery is completely disconnected. Now the only time you're going to want to do that is if it's in storage, because when it's in the disconnected position, it isn't going to be charging when you plug into shore power or when you're driving. The small switch just above the battery disconnect switch is for your SmartCamp system. If you download the SmartCamp app onto your phone, you'll be able to control the lights and the fans. The panel just above that is the 1200 watt inverter. If you press the button in the center, that is going to activate the inverter to take the battery power and turn it into 110 power in your plugs in the camper. The Alde system is located underneath the dinette right next to the bed. Now, if your water is coming out too hot or too cold, there is an adjustment here. Just come over here to the red cap, lift it off. There is a triangle that you can use as a wrench. Turn it upside down, and you'll twist it counterclockwise to make the water hotter or clockwise to make it colder. Once you've made the adjustment, flip the cap back over and snap it into place. If your control panel goes dark, you may have blown a fuse in the Alde system. To fix that, simply lift up this black panel, and there are extra fuses provided by the manufacturer right here. Pull out this green tab in the back, replace the fuse, and put that right back in the slot. The last thing I want to point out on the Alde system is a pressure relief valve. Now this is a yellow lever down here on the floor, and it can double as a low point drain. So by lifting that lever, you will drain the water out of the Alde system. Underneath the rear dinette is the water pump, and I just want to point out the water filter right here. And if there is dirt or debris that collects in there, you can unscrew that clear cap, clean the filter, and then screw it right back on again. Both of these dinette seats have covers on them that are screwed down for safety. We've removed the dinette here to show you that there is 2 rails, and to move it from the table to the bed, you detach from the top rail and connect, of course, to the bottom rail. To attach the table to the rail, just push down on the top button, drop it down on the rail, and push up from the bottom to clamp it in. Now the leg is folded up for the bed position, but to raise and lower the leg, there's a lever behind this. You just lift up and the leg will drop down into position. To release the table from the bar on the wall, simply push down on the latches and lift off the table. Let's talk about opening the window. There's latches all the way around. Some of them are going to have a red button on them. And to release them, you'll have to push in the red button and swivel the latch open. Now push the window out to whatever level you would like it open and simply tighten the clamp on the side props. That will hold the window in place. To close it, undo the clamp and lower it in. Now there's 2 positions on how to clamp this window. One of them is to use the center slot right here in between the bar. When you latch this in the center slot, then it allows air to flow in between the seal and the window. That is great if you have condensation issues on the inside or if you just like a little airflow. Now, you can't go down the road like that, so be sure before you travel that this latch is fully engaged on the inside of the track. There is a blackout shade that pulls up from the bottom and it can connect to the upper screen, or you can pull down from the top for the screen. Either way, you want to be sure that these are compressed before you're traveling. Now on the side of the rear dinette, you'll see that there is 12-volt outlet on the front with the USB, and on the side, the 110 outlets. This is the LP carbon monoxide detector. Now that is wired directly to the battery on the camper. If the battery on the camper gets low, it'll chirp every 30 to 45 seconds, telling you that that battery is low and it can't operate properly. If it sounds continuously, that's alerting you that there might be something dangerous inside your camper. Now just above here is the smoke alarm. There is a test button right on the front, and you'll notice inside it runs off a 9-volt battery. So you might want to keep those handy in case it runs low. Just like the one at your house, it'll chirp every 30 to 45 seconds if that battery is getting low and needs replacing. Stepping into the wet bath. On this wall, there's the panel for the shower, and this control is rotating right to left for hot and cold and pulling out to turn the water on. The shower handle is right up here, and of course you can lift it out, adjust the height on this by swiveling back and then tightening it forward again. The 12-volt fan in the roof also acts as a light, so to open the fan, just push the button and push the handle towards the ceiling. The fan is open. The light switch is right here on the right, and the fan switch is just inside. Now, if for any reason you lose power here, there is a turn button here for the fuse. Just open this cap, replace the fuse, and put it right back in. The sink is held up with a magnet, so simply pull it into place and rotate the faucet down. The handle will rotate up and down for hot and cold temperature adjustments, and then simply pull it out to turn the faucet on. Now remember, you will want both the handle and the faucet in the up position when you close the sink. To operate the toilet, simply push the foot pedal down halfway to put water in the bowl, and then all the way to continue the water and flush it. Keep in mind, the bathroom door is for privacy only. If you're going to shower, you'll want to install the shower curtain on the rail right across the door. There's one more thing I want to show you. If you'd like to leave the door open for airflow, just pull the screen across And when you close it, it's going to fold right back into the frame. The equipment we've talked about here will have manuals and warranty information included in the black nuCamp bag that comes with your camper. The owner's manual from nuCamp, however, is located online for easy reference at nucamprv.com/documents. If you have more questions, please contact your dealer for assistance. Again, congratulations on your new Cirrus 820, and from all your friends here at nuCamp, we wish you many great adventures.